Hello, I'm Daisy. I'm the founder of the Victory Garden Collective. I'm here today to teach you about the taco and spaghetti garden. I want you to have an easy win this summer if you're a first-time gardener. I want you to be able to grow something that will be easy to use in your kitchen and easy to preserve for when the cold months come. So let's get started. So I have a few plants here that we're going to talk about for your spaghetti garden. So the first thing is you're going to want to pick some tomatoes. I have picked a paste variety. These are called La Romas. They have not as much water in them, but at the end of the day, this is about what you can access, and you just want a good solid tomato. And you're going to, I'll talk about more about the care of the tomatoes later. Then you're going to want some peppers. This is a bell pepper. It's the Big Bertha. It's sweet, and if you harvest it early, it'll be green. If you harvest it later, it'll be red. I don't like green peppers, green sweet peppers, so I wanted a variety that I could wait for them to turn red. Then for my herbs, I just have some parsley for the sauce. It's just a basic curled parsley. I want to recommend that you avoid the big box stores because they have something called neonicotinoids in their plants, and it makes the honeybees sick. So we don't want the honeybees to be sick because they pollinate everything for us. So whenever you have one of your tomato plants, I'm just going to grab one out of the 4-pack. So one of my tomato tips is this. You are going to take the tomato. Whoa. You're going to take the smallest little branches off the bottom. I'm actually going to take these off up to here. Why? Because I want this to have a super strong root structure. And then I'm going to bury it like this, because what it's going to do is it's going to force that plant to have a really nice and strong stalk. And that's something that you want for good production on these tomatoes. Do something similar on these peppers. So we have these little bitty sucker branches here. You just want to get them off. You could actually take it all the way up to there. And once again, we're going to bury them the same way we would bury the tomato. With the cilantro, we're just going to find a good spot. We're going to pop it in the ground. All of these plants work well together, and they're things that you'll need for your spaghetti sauce. So the one thing that I'm going to leave out for now are the onions and garlic. I have both of them here growing in the greenhouse, but if you're a first timer, those two, for one, garlic you have to sow in the fall. Onions are a spring thing. I've got them going. I was not successful with onions until last year. That's a whole other thing for another day. I have a whole video series about onions that I did because there was such a learning curve for me. But I want to keep it simple for you because most of you are going to source your onions and your garlic at the grocery store. Fairly cheap to get, $1 for the little pack of garlic. You know, if you're making one pot of sauce, you can get one onion. It's what it is. So that's what I'm going to say about that. Next step is you're going to decide, am I going to grow in a container or am I going to grow in the ground? So if you're going to grow in a container, you need at least 5 gallons of soil for every tomato plant that you have. I am not against containers. As you can see, I've got some of my favorite variety growing in here in the greenhouse, but I also like them to be in the ground. And why is that? Because there's something called mycorrhizal fungi, and it creates a structure and a nourishment for the plant that they don't get. Now the fungi will grow in the containers because I've seen it in there as I was getting my containers ready for this year. But there's something that happens, an interconnectedness, and then when they're connected to the earth, when we have these thunderstorms, it actually, in the wire cages, it pulls down the positive ions. It gives a lot of energy to that plant. After these storms, you'll see your plants shoot up because they're getting that extra energy from the ground. So your peppers, they also need a lot of soil. I would say at least 3 gallons of pepper. And then, you know, with one of these, you can put this where you would put like a house plant in like a regular pot. I actually have these cute pots. If you'll see up here, I have flowers planted in those, and they're like a tripod, and that's something that I've used for my herbs, and it's just kind of fun to just plant herbs in there and have them in the house, so you don't have to get all hot and sweaty going out and picking them out of the garden. If you want to do a 2-for-1 and turn it into a salsa garden, you just change the pepper and you change the herb. You keep the very same tomatoes, and then depending on how hot you want, I'm just going with your basic jalapeno. I picked this up from an organic gardener in my community, and so that was super awesome. And then I also picked up some cilantro that she grew. So the cilantro and the jalapenos and your tomato, once again, basic salsa. And if you want the garlic and the onion that goes in there, once again, that's something you can source from the store. That more intermediate for me, at least. If there's someone who was a beginner who did well at that, I'd love to hear about it. It's awesome. It's just not something that I was good at. Better now, but it is what it is. So that's something that's an easy, quick win for you. The tomatoes, the peppers, the herbs, and if you do all of these, then you have what you need for your tacos, what you need for your spaghetti. And on our menu, it's a standing feature. We have spaghetti and tacos every single week. I have things I know I'm going to be able to use through the summer, and things that I can preserve that are going to feed my family, and I'm not going to buy it at the store. Double win. I'm going to do an example of what it looks like to plant in the ground and what it looks like to plant in containers. I'm going to start with the herbs, and I'm going to start in one of the tri-hole containers like you can find at Dollar Tree. So for the first layer of this tri-hole, what you call them, I'm going to show you what it looks like. First off, this is what the tower looks like. I've got some zinnias planted in this one. It was just something to save space, and this is something super fun that you can have in your house if you choose to do a container. So first things first, we're going to get soil in here. I have a big bag over there that I just stuck enough for this right in here. So I'm just going to fill it up all the way here. And what will happen is they'll all grow together. All the roots will come together. So that's super fun. All right. So first things first, we're going to get soil in here. I have a big bag over there that I just stuck enough for this right in here. So I'm just going to fill it up all the way here. And what will happen is they'll all grow together. All the roots will come together. So that's super fun. All right. Okay, I got the second layer all cleaned up and ready for some soil. So this one will be our parsley. So plenty of that. And what's cool is while you're waiting on all the stuff for your spaghetti and for your tacos, you have some herbs you can use in your everyday and you're not spending the money at the grocery store. You got it right there. Ooh, I need some more dirt. So while you're waiting on your veggies to mature, you'll have these herbs and you can use them in your kitchen. You have this in your house or on the porch, I don't know. And you can use them as you're waiting. So, got to take a look at our parsley. Now this parsley, I am seeing two plants. One's big and one's small. And this is extra triple curled. Once again, it tells you some information about the herb itself. So once again, we're going to squeeze this. And this one is ready to be planted. We got tons of roots happening. And honestly, all you have to do is use 2 of these. Okay. So I showed you a way to do container herbs, and now these are my vertical gardening towers. I think you have seen them before in previous videos. But I have some celebrity tomatoes in there. I just like them for their uniform nature. I tend to grow heirloom and hybrids. I like these because sometimes I just want something that looks like a regular round tomato that has a consistent taste all the time, and these do it for me. And so in this container, I'm going to add my jalapeno on the other side of them. It's a companion plant. It's not going to hurt anything. And so just like I took my other ones out, now I'm one-handed here because I don't have my little fancy stuff. So I'm gonna have to one-handedly squeeze it out where I want it to be, which is right there. And didn't damage it. Fantastic. So I am going to pick those two little bottom suckers off there. And then I'm just gonna move it over with my hands because this is nice loose soil. I'll break that up because that came in a compressed bale. And I'm gonna plant it sideways so it will be forced to grow up strong and nice and have a strong root system, a strong stalk. And so it's just going to grow up with my tomatoes in here. So I have met the achievement unlocked for the salsa part. Now I have to grab my bell pepper and ironically also in here I do have some garlic planted. If it makes, it makes, but it is best sown in the fall. This is the bell pepper plant. I've already taken the first little node off, and I'm gonna find a pocket for it that's not occupied. And so I have an unoccupied pocket right here. So I'm just gonna dig that out and I'm gonna pop that baby right in there. It's a little bit of a tight fit, but I've seen stuff in these towers. It's gonna work just fine. It'll take root. I'm gonna keep growing it. So I have tomatoes, a jalapeno, and my bell pepper planted. I've got a little 3-pack, so I'll plant the rest of them. I've never done hothouse sweet peppers before, so this is gonna be an experiment for me. But there's plenty of soil to support all these plants. Be creative. The 5-gallon bucket system, you know, if you can't find anything else, you've got those, that works. 10 gallons is optimal per plant, but the 5-gallon will work for your containers. And I'm going to show you an example of what it takes to grow tomatoes whenever you're putting them in the ground, because you do need to know one other special tip. So we have a few woven together, some early girl tomatoes here, and this is so that as the tomato plant grows, it will have a place to guard it, because these do get pretty big. I grow a lot of indeterminate variety tomatoes because they just keep going. The determinate, they'll be a certain size, but they don't keep going throughout the summer. Once they produce their fruit, they're done. But you can depend on them to be a certain size. The indeterminate, they just keep going and going, and you will have more tomatoes than you know what to do with. Several different varieties out here because that's the one thing. If you've heard of chicken math, I guess you should call it tomato math, because they're just so addicting, because it's something that you can eat right away. They're tasty, you can preserve them, and they're just so easy. If you're a beginner, do not let any of this scare you. These 3 types of plants I've shown you best. Peppers are forgiving, tomatoes are forgiving, herbs are forgiving. What do you have to lose? So what I've just given you is a quick tutorial of how to do your spaghetti and your taco garden. So whether you choose a container or whether you choose to garden in the ground, you are going to do great, because these are very forgiving plants. Put them in a nice spot where they're going to get a lot of sun. Make sure you water them regularly. And this is a super fun time because once again, my organic gardening friend, she had all these plants and she had planted and sold and given away, and these guys were headed for the composter, and I just couldn't let it happen. So hopefully there's going to be some folks who come out today and get a good start on their taco and spaghetti garden. So I hope that you are able to do the same. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you like the content, if you want to see more of this coming. If you have questions, if there's something I left out you want to know about, go ahead and drop a question below. It's been great spending some time with you. Get out there and garden.